I'm your host, Noah Love. We're just going to get straight into it here. Yes, Pacers Thunder Game 5. Tyrese Halliburton injury. We'll get into all of that. But breaking news, Jaire Alexander is a Baltimore Raven. 28-year-old Jaire Alexander. We talked about it, I believe it was last week. It's either last week or 2 weeks ago. He was released by the Green Bay Packers. Lamar Jackson had been talking about how he wants Jaire Alexander on his team, told the GM Eric DeCosta to go get him. Lamar Jackson has spoken a deal into existence. After Jackson told reporters he'd like the Ravens to have Jaire Alexander on Tuesday, Baltimore announced the club has signed Jaire Alexander, the cornerback, to a one-year deal on Wednesday. Via Adam Schefter of ESPN's, Alexander is set to earn $4 million, with another $2 million available in incentives. So just a little deal. If he plays well, they'll re-sign him. If he doesn't, it's a low risk, high reward. Alexander, 28, is a two-time Pro Bowler and two-time second-team All-Pro, but he's been limited to just 14 games over the last two seasons due to injury. The Packers officially released Alexander on June 9th, ending his 7-year tenure with the club. The number 18 overall pick in the 2018 draft, Alexander has registered 70 passes defense with 12 interceptions since entering the league in 2018. The Ravens were not hurting at corner, but bringing in Alexander as an added depth piece could pay significant dividends, given his experience and skill. In 2024, Alexander picked off 2 passes, registered 7 passes defended, and had a fumble recovery. Alexander and Jackson were college teammates at Louisville. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen. Look, you add depth into the back end. You've already got Marlon Humphrey. You've already got Nate Wiggins. Now you got Jaire. As strong safety, you still have Kyle Hamilton. I believe they drafted a safety as well in the draft this year. I like this. Look, it's low risk, high reward. If he doesn't play well, if he's injured again, it's only $4 million. Can't resign him. If he plays well, then okay, after this 1 year deal is up, big piece, may potentially help us win a Super Bowl, because they are Super Bowl contenders. Before this, they were, and after this, they obviously still are. May help us win championship. Let's try to re-sign you. So this is a big deal, though. Big time deal. When you're facing teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow, now DK Metcalf is in your own division. You need to have the ability to cover, especially obviously CJ Stroud, Nico Collins. We know that with the AFC, they're stacked in terms of quarterback and really good receivers and great receivers. You need corners to cover. Jaire Alexander, when healthy, can cover. When healthy, he can shut down guys like a Justin Jefferson. He's proven that. He's done that. Jaire Alexander, when healthy, is a top 10 corner, potentially top 5. Not even potentially, probably is top 5. But that's when healthy. And yes, I have to play the when healthy game because, he hasn't been healthy the last 2 to 3 years, which is why Green Bay let him go. So look, this is, again, low risk, high reward. This deal, I believe, I won't say it put Baltimore over the top, obviously, but I think it can really help them. Look, it's a 1 year, $6 million deal. It's not, obviously, it's not a huge deal, but it's a good one. It's good enough. So, to me, this kind of slightly puts them ahead of Buffalo. just slightly puts them ahead of Buffalo. Buffalo's still really good. Obviously, they're both great teams. I believe that. In terms of trying to beat Kansas City, they're the in the AFC. They're obviously the top two there, just obviously because of the roster construction and the quarterbacks. So this doesn't really move the needle, I think, in terms of that. Well, it can if he's healthy, but again, I have to play the win healthy game because he's never healthy. He just never is these past 2 to 3 years. But if healthy, he could shut someone down like a Xavier Worthy or Rasheed Rice or an Amari Cooper. That's on Buffalo. Look, he's probably gonna be given the assignment against Jamar Chase. You know, now if Chase still goes for 200, that was also a problem when they played them last year. Even though Baltimore won both meetings, Chase went crazy in both games. So they didn't really have anyone to cover him. Now they do in Jaire Alexander. So look, to me, good move for Baltimore. Again, the value, obviously you got him at. Look, I don't. Nobody was gonna sign him to like this crazy big deal. I don't think so. Yeah, I look. This is a good deal for him and the Ravens organization. I really do like this. I think he'll fit into their man-to-man scheme well. For this, but yeah, that's really my only take on it. All right, let's get into the Pacers and Thunder game 5, and then we'll preview game 6. Game 5, the Thunder take a 3-2 lead over the Indiana Pacers. I'm gonna be honest here. I I think the Pacers are done. I think they're done. Well, they show great fight in game 6. In game 5, look, J Dub went crazy. He can make a case for Finals MVP if they win. If OKC wins it, he could win it over Shea potentially. It depends on what happens in game 6. Look, I think game 4 was the best chance for the Pacers to really take control of this finals. Now Halliburton's got a calf strain. He was terrible even before the calf strain. I mean, you don't make a shot in an NBA Finals game. Look, Rick made a mistake. Here's where Rick's mistake was. When it was a 2-point game, he should have rolled with TJ McConnell the rest of the way. Should have rolled the lineup should have been TJ McConnell, Nembhard, Neesmith, Siakam, and probably Obi Toppin or Miles Turner. One of the two. He made a mistake. Took McConnell out. Then when it's close, he takes Siakam out. The two guys that really were hooping and got you back into the game, and now you're cooked. Siakam had 28 points. He was cooking in the second half. Thought Neesmith played a really good game. I thought Turner played better. This is probably his best game besides game 2. Uh, but when your two starting guards are just atrocious and they've combined for 7 turnovers, you're not going to win like that. Just atrocious in terms of turning the ball. I mean, my goodness. Like, Nembhard and Halliburton were throwing the ball all over the place. Give credit to OKC. I believe they had 32 points off turnovers, which, if you're going to do that, that's what's going to happen. Chet didn't shoot it particularly great in the game, I thought. Jalen Williams was just outstanding. I mean, the shots he was making was incredible. They didn't play Hardenstein as much. I thought the role players, Cason Wallace, hit big threes. Aaron Wiggins hit some big threes. Lou Dort was good defensively. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander got to the line. I think it's the most he's got to the line in a game. Yeah, he was 13 to 14, but 31 points, 10 assists, just timely. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams combined for 71. Like those two, if you really look at this game, if you really look at it, I mean, the Thunder bench wasn't insane. The Pacers bench was they were kind. Felt like they were kind of even, but when only one of your stars come to play, in terms of in terms of the Pacers, Siakam came to play. Your other one disappeared. I mean, look, when your two starting guards are virtually unplayable, you're not gonna win an NBA Finals game. I'm sorry. Name me one Finals game in history where a team has won and both of their starting guards have been virtually unplayable in big portions of the game. Yeah, you just can't win that way. And then the Thunder, great job from three. I don't know. They shot way better. I think they were. Let me see here. They were 14 to 32. Yeah, so they only hit threes in the last game. Look, they're gonna have to go on the road to Indy and win a championship, which they have all the momentum. Right, it's gonna be hard for Indy. I don't know, to win Game 6. I really do, but it's also gonna be hard for OKC to win Game 6 in that building. If you're Indiana, you just gotta hope you can pull out Game 6, and then anything can happen. My whole thing now, my thoughts on the Halliburton calf. If he is not right, do not play him. Look, I get it. It's a championship series. You'll do anything to win the championship. But I'm just telling you, from watching Kevin Durant in 2019, I don't even want to play with it. I don't need, people thought it was his Achilles at first in the Houston series. Oh, it's just his calf. But if it's just his calf, why is it taking him 2 months to come back? Da-da. Oh, he's back for Game 5. Oh, he's hooping. One wrong step, Achilles blown. He's out. He goes to Brooklyn, and he's out for that next year. In the dynasty dies. So I just think if he is not at least 90%, don't play him. Truthfully. And OKC, because he has even if he does play, if he has a calf strain, OKC's going to attack him every time on defense because they smell blood in the water. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do, and as they should. If a guy's out there and he's hobbled, you should go at him every time. Can't be feeling bad for nobody. This is the NBA Finals. Thunder are one win away from their first ever NBA championship. The Pacers, they have to win back-to-back games here if they want to win the championship. Even if they force a Game 6, I mean, look, anything can happen. Force a Game 6. They've already forced a Game 6. Even if they force a Game 7, I just don't see how they go in and beat OKC in Game 7. I mean, anything can happen, but I just don't see it. Especially with Halliburton basically on one leg. I don't know, man. I think the sequence of the game was Siakam cuts it to 3. Or no, Siakam cuts it to 2. This is 94-92. I believe SGA missed a shot, and the Pacers can't get the rebound. I think Hardenstein got the offensive rebound, kicks it out to Jalen Williams for 3, bang, and Nembhard comes down, turns it over into a fast break, dunk, 7-point lead, timeout. That was maybe if they had gotten McConnell back in, they could have maybe still had a chance, but that right there was essentially the game. That sequence right there was the game. I believe it was about 8 minutes left to play when that sequence happened. That sequence was basically the game, and it was over. That was basically the game, and that's how the Thunder win Game 5. Uh, Pacers show great fight. Look, the Pacers are not going to just lie down and die. That if the OKC thinks that's going to happen, and they come out lackadaisical in the Pacers force a Game 7, that the Thunder should be ashamed of themselves. But they're not just gonna die. If you know one thing about the Pacers, like even last year when they were without Halliburton, like they didn't just lay down and die. They played two great games against the Celtics. They just could not close because their closer was not there. So they're not just gonna sit there and die. That's just not gonna happen. OKC has to straight. It's going to be 48-minute game again, 48 minute. And if OKC does not come prepared for a 48-minute fight, they could be in some trouble. Um, Look now, even if Halliburton plays, I don't know how healthy he is. We'll see. I mean, look, you'll see by the first minute or two of the game. You'll see. You'll literally see. Um, what his condition is, what he looks like. Other than that, I've got nothing in terms of that. Obviously, game game 6. Look, it's gonna be about your trust in your teammates. Obviously, your effort, and then your belief. The game plan has worked to get you to game 6. So I don't look. Rick and Mark can make the adjustments, but they've been playing chess back and forth. That's the thing. To me, it's about turnovers, offensive rebounding. Those are your two main points. Whoever wins those aspects will win the basketball game. And then it's obviously about the shooting. Obviously, you gotta make shots. 3-point shooting is gonna be crucial, but OKC has proven they can win a game when they only make three pointers. J Dub just had a legacy game. Is SGA gonna have his? Or does somebody else from the Pacers, does another unsung hero happen, and that's how they force Game 7? Because I just find it hard to believe that here, even though I say the Pacers are done, that the Thunder are just going to beat the Pacers 3 straight times. If Halliburton's on the floor, that'd be hard, man. If Halliburton's able to give them something close, that's the thing. If he's able to give them at least something close to what he was in like game 3, then the Pacers have a chance and may win the game. But if he gives them another game 5, like gagging my floor, you just can't have that. You just can't. It's just the NBA Finals. I can't be worried about feelings. I'm trying to keep my season alive and win a championship. Because to me, if I am the Pacers, if you're able to force a Game 7, all the pressure now goes to OKC. Because it's Game 7, 68 wins, you're a historic team. They have to win that game. The Pacers, if you lose at 7, okay, great season, you took an historic team to 7. That's the way it's going to be looked at. If you're the Thunder and you somehow lose back-to-back games for the first time this season, or not for the first time, for the first time since April, if you somehow do that and you don't win a championship, it's a gut punch. And it is a gut punch that, with the Western Conference, will they get back? Probably, but you don't know. The Pacers are such big underdogs in this. It will be a gut punch if you don't win. If you don't win, so that's what I'm saying for the Thunder. Like, so good. If the Pacers get up double figures, they have to continue to keep their foot on the gas. To me, the Pacers in Game 6 have to try to blow out the Thunder. Because if they're able to blow them out, maybe get your stars out late, get some rest for Game 7. Obviously, same thing. Look, we saw this really in the Denver series. Look, against Denver, Denver was able to force a game 6, and in game 7 they just got romped. If the Pacers are able to force a game 7, I don't think they would get romped in game 7. I really don't, because well, Jokic. I think if the Pacers got up double figures in the game 7, it would be some trouble for the Thunder. Other than Denver, because I think against Denver, I mean Jokic, and I mean they just couldn't make any shots. The Pacers can make threes. Neesmith shooting better than Michael Porter. It game 6. Obviously, it's win or go home. Obviously, if the Thunder win, they win the championship. If not, it's a game 7, which a game 7 in the NBA Finals, I believe we haven't had that since 2016. I put on my Instagram story, this is before I knew Halliburton had calf injury, that the series is going 7. I think if Halliburton is at least 90% and he can give you something of what he gave you in game 3, I believe the Pacers will win, and I believe the Pacers will push it to 7. And then at that point, anything can happen. I will favor OKC, probably pick OKC to win game 7, but that's where it is. If you're the Pacers, you don't want to lose on your home floor. You want to have some sort of pride and not lose on your home floor. Because if you lose on your home floor, to have them celebrate, like even in 2000, like with Reggie, they won game 5 at home and blew out the Lakers, but lost game 6. And okay, LA wins on the home floor. That's cool. Even if you even if you lose game 7, at least have okay, see, you can have a good job. Y'all won. Just don't lose on. Don't let your fans have to experience you lose in 6. And also, you just want to give yourself a chance in game 7, because you never know. What happens if Neesmith or Nembhard gets hot, goes for 30? Like, what happens if Halliburton's leg magically heals? Like in game 7, it's like we know this in the history of the league, anything can happen, and who knows? Maybe the pressure might be too much for OKC. Now, I don't think it has been, because like we've seen them. Because if the pressure was too much, I believe they will falter game 4. Again in this series, don't think game 4 against Denver. Denver wasn't. They shot that shot better, but I felt like they just didn't have the depth, whereas Indiana has the depth. So look, game 6 is going to be incredible. Um, I believe it will be an instant classic waiting to happen. Halliburton game time decision. People, coaches' legacies on the line. Players' legacies on the line. Jaire Alexander is now a Baltimore Raven. That is great for the Ravens. Great get. All right. Until next time, see ya.